Hello, and welcome into the Shoujo-Verse. Welcome to Season 2. I don't know if this is going to be Episode 1 or if BL will be Episode 1. But anyways, welcome to Season 2. Today we have a very fun topic that everyone loves to talk about. Are women ruining anime? And here, as a group of 3 women, me, Nikki, and Samosa, we will give you a non-biased answer. That's a lie, of course. We're biased because we're women.
Very unbiased.
Anyways, how are you guys doing today?
Yeah, I am already stressed, but I did just come back from my, trip. I went to St. Louis, Chicago, New York. I did
got to meet Davina, didn't
too,
you?
so it was fun. It was a really fun time. Maybe I'll tell you guys about it in detail another time, but it was pretty fun.
And thank you for taking time out of your stressful day to record and roast incels with us.
No problem. Anytime.
It's a de-stressor, honestly.
What's up with you, Samosa?
I was gonna make orange chicken, right? So I gave a list of the ingredients to my mom today since she was gonna go grocery shopping with my dad. And then she was like, oh, we have cornstarch at home. And I believed her, unfortunately. So right before this, I was preparing to make the sauce. So I put the chicken in the fridge to marinate, and then I was like, okay, I'll just prepare the dry ingredients right now, so it'll be ready when I finish recording. I can make the sauce as soon as this is over. And then we didn't have cornstarch; we had corn flour. Completely different thing. So I'm gonna postpone that to tomorrow.
That's a massive tragedy, to postpone your meal.
I mean, my parents are making something else, so this was just supposed to be like a small thing.
At least you'll have food. Oh, pour one out for your orange chicken.
But anyways, back to men.
And no, we're talking about women today. And I'm sorry in advance if you can hear my cat. He's sleeping next to me, and I think he's having an interesting dream.
He's chasing mice or something.
Oh, he would love that, honestly. He sits up on the deck sometimes and stares out at rabbits that hop around, and I fear for them.
Oh no!
He would destroy them if he could. He hunts flies. He's a menace. He hunts flies so well. There's not a single fly that escapes him.
That's good. You know, some cats are scared of flies and then other animals, even though that's what they're supposed to do.
No, my cat squares up. Anyways, that's what's going on with my life is my cat. So are women ruining anime?
No, of course not.
Okay, yes. I think at least 85 to 90% of anime fans would agree. Women are not ruining anime. We're talking about a fringe group here. And there are 2 sides. There are the sides that are women are ruining anime because the women they're talking about are feminists who take it too far. But then it's also the men on the other side who take it too far because they objectify women and gatekeep, etc.
I think for so long anime has been thought of as a weird thing, and then all of a sudden it got popular. And I feel on TikTok it's I don't see a lot of guys doing anime related stuff. It's mostly girls.
They do too.
So
I think they do too, but it's it's however your TikTok is catered. Yeah, I do think, there's a lot of guys out there who think that, it's the feminists that are ruining it. But honestly, it's not even if it's just it's not even anything radical, to be honest, I don't think. Most of the time, the things that they're complaining about, the things that the guys are complaining, that the girls are complaining about, it's not radical thoughts or really unreasonable to demand.
Right.
How about we have some stronger female characters? Is that
yeah.
Is that something?
Or looking at a series and saying this series objectifies or probably abuses this woman, probably unnecessarily. Saying something like that, and then they're being just oh, you're triggered. just because, you know, it's art, it's whatever. You know, if it was a man, would you be complaining? It's that sort of stuff that's like, having a criticism of a series does not always mean you're attacking it outright.
Yeah.
For sure.
If that makes sense.
I think it's good if we criticize like the stuff we enjoy, because other than like, as much as we would like to, a lot of things have. I mean, the author is gonna have their own opinion, their own like morals. Yeah, morals.
Yes.
Ethics, whatever. And I think it's good if we have like every person is their own person. So if you can't critique the media we enjoy, then what else are you, like, you can't just blindly watch something, you know? You're not gonna enjoy like something like 100%. There might be some things here and there that you might not like.
Yeah, I think being able to critically enjoy something is a skill that not everyone has. How do I describe this? To be able to watch a series and say, yes, I enjoy this, but I can see the drawbacks and I can see why other people wouldn't. I think a lot of people in the anime community, most people I would say can do that, but some people, if you say anything critical about their favorite series, you're a hater and need to be torn down. I don't know. There is something you said, how the author would have their own morals and ethics and all that. I did see a tweet. Let me pull up the specific tweet. It was a quote tweet of someone saying, "But I don't care about cutesy shoujo stuff. You're in luck because Japanese women draw a lot more than that, and it fucking slaps." So, and it's Full Metal Alchemist, Dungeon Meshi, Doro,
Beastars.
Yeah, Beastars and Doro Hedoro. And then someone quote tweeted that and said, "Y'all only value the work of women when it appeals to the male audience." And that raises a question: how important is an author's identity when consuming their work?
I forgot what manga it was, but the mangaka is a female, and she actually was hiding her identity as a woman. She was pretending to be like a male writer, mangaka, just so she would be able to be more popular. I think that's pretty popular in general. Like J.K. Rowling did that.
That's definitely, I think that's an older thing. I think it's going away, but I know in Japan still, and some Eastern countries, there's still a lot of pretty rampant sexism.
Actually, it was Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah. Hiromi Arakawa. She pretended to be a male for a while because she was worried that as if she like comes out as a female, she would get less credit for her work. She actually called herself Edmund Arakawa originally. Then she changed her alias to something similar to her real name, but made that masculine, so she called herself as Hiromu Arakawa.
Right. To better sales, so someone reading would be like, I personally don't, most of the time when I pick up a book, I don't think about, honestly, I don't think about who the author is. I'm just like, ooh, is book good or not?
It's true. I think it's easy for us since, like, we're not Japanese, so I mean, just looking at the names, like, unless you're like well versed in Japanese culture or like Japanese language, you're not gonna know if the name is like masculine or feminine, like from the onset, right?
Right.
So I think like as a Western like perspective, we don't know automatically, so we don't really care.
Yeah, but I think even I'm just like I almost never look into the author whenever I find a new series to read.
I don't.
Like a new manga. But that might just be...
I'm kind of bad with Japanese names in general.
That might just be because I'm from a Western country and I don't experience the same strict sexism as other countries.
I feel
like there was that one archer from South Korea.
Oh yeah.
In the Olympics. Oh my god.
That whole situation was crazy.
Wait, what is that situation? I'm not familiar.
basically a female Korean archer. She won gold, I think, but she had like a pretty. I think she had a bowl cut or something. She had a couple other things. She was from, I think, Daegu, and she had the yellow ribbon pin on her like jacket vesting. And apparently those all like incels pretended that those all symbolized like feminist, anti-men kind of like attitude. And they like horribly bullied her online, saying like, "Hey, she's anti-man, like she's an evil person. She wants to kill all men." And they were like, "Olympics, get rid of her gold medal." And it was pretty bad. It was on the news.
Wow, that sounds horrible.
The yellow ribbon thing is actually from the Seoul ferry accident. That's what people wear to represent that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said she's a short-haired feminist. Therefore, the Korean Archery Association must take back the gold medals from her, her
possession.
Yeah. What she did at the Olympics.
That's dumb.
And so I think that's pretty... And the more you read the thread, the more you see that this sort of thing is not uncommon in South Korea.
Yeah, it's really bad. There's actually has been kind of like... There's been a lot of arguments, debates, fights, online bullying fights, because there's been a rise of like feminist movements, a lot of women kind of talking more about women's rights.
Korea
And
had their own
feminism
Me
in
Too
Korea.
movement as well too.
Yeah,
Recently.
yeah. I think it's in general been like a rising thing in Korea, and just a lot of Korean men are not okay with that. It's a very Eastern thing. It's a very Eastern thing, like in the East Asian countries, especially.
Like
not just the
Eastern,
not just the East Asian countries, but
the current Korean government is actually like, we're kind of like saying, okay, more feminism, more Me Too, like more people should be outspoken about this kind of thing. But ironically, a lot of like politicians in that specific party were actually outed for being sexual assaulters, sexual abuse. Even last year, it was either last year or late. No, it was last year. The Seoul mayor committed suicide because he was about to be charged or something for sexual assault. He sexually harassed his secretary. And there was evidence for it too. But in Korea, as soon as you die, all charges immediately drop against the person. You can't further pursue legal action or anything like that. So that's what happened, unfortunately.
I think you do see a little bit of commentary on Korean culture towards women in webtoons. A little bit. I've seen it a little bit.
Maybe, you see it more in the...
Yeah, maybe a little.
And I think that's...
right now, romance fan... You don't really see it in romance fantasy webtoons, though.
Right.
There's there's like the one that's like, They Say I Was Born a King's Daughter. That's like one of the first like Korean isekai webtoons that was like floating around in very early.
Mm-hmm.
Where that one was the one where only men...
For a super, super misogynist society.
Yeah, where only men like have magic or something. So it's super, super, super misogynistic.
The story was really weird. For some reason, they made women slaves, like actual, like manual labor type of slaves. I think it's still ongoing too.
Yeah, it is still ongoing, and it's like a and it's like the society is basically Korea. It was called like Koryo, and their ancient language was Korean, like Hangul.
You tell me the country is called Koryo?
I think so. I think that's what it was.
It's an old Korean dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Cheese in the Trap also talked about like misogyny. She had the female lead had her younger brother, and he was always allowed to do whatever he wanted. While even though she studied and like did everything perfectly, her parents never gave her the attention she wanted. Even her grandmother never favored her. Her grandmother always favored her younger brother, and that always was like a complex for her.
I think that's probably the most common representation you see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that happens a lot in like K-dramas too. Like the moms are always obsessed with their sons, and then like the daughters just whatever.
Or the daughters get put in like caretaker roles immediately from like, you're 5, so please take care of your baby brother.
So what about anime? What else what else is the case of like our girls learning it? I think we should go into like the thread that we found that talked about like feminists or that said, why is feminism trying to ruin anime or manga? Because I think it's good to see this example. So we found a thread. It's on my anime list in one of the forums. The title is Seriously, Why is Feminism Trying to Ruin Anime/Manga Now? This was about 3 years ago. It was posted March 4th, 2018. And I will just read what it says. So I noticed recently there are a bunch of crazy feminists trying to criticize and whine about the way manga and anime are made. I have noticed some things that they keep on complaining about that are ridiculous. 1. The way girls are portrayed in anime and manga in relationships. They constantly complain that women are seen as weak and helpless. I find this pathetic. Like, what is their point? 2. They go on to complain about how violence on women is being used as a joke. Like, seriously, WTF? Violence is always used on men by female characters everywhere, but they don't complain about that and find that funny. Just how oppressing feminists can be. I find this behavior absolutely appalling. P.S. They actually promote violence on men for humor, but I am not going to discuss this as it's not worth it. I remember when no one once complained about anything in anime and manga and everything was just great the way it was. Why do feminists try to control and have anime and manga go their own way? Like, can't they just leave anime/manga alone? Why do they care about every single little thing? Why do they read or watch these anime or manga when there are hundreds of anime or manga that do not involve any of these things they complain about? Why do they watch ecchi or shoujo and then complain about the objectification of women? Why do they read manga made for men and then complain women are being oppressed? I didn't know feminism got so awful. I wonder, is it just me who feels this way?
There's a lot to unwrap there.
There is many, many, many things to unwrap. But yeah, this was read like verbatim by someone who posted this on a forum on my anime list. And, the people who respond to it don't really like...
The people who respond to this aren't really calling him out, but more like, there are a few people who say, like, what's your evidence? Some people are like, you're taking this, isn't, this isn't really happening. You're just cherry picking a few threads, which I think is what most sane people would take a step back and say, hey, wait a second, that's like one person's extreme thread who a lot of people will take out of context and screenshot and spread around and be like, oh, this is why feminists are ruining anime, when it's just one person's opinion rather than like every other female viewer. By the way, guys, boys, men, did you know that the world population is like 50% women? And did you know that, like, I would say probably 30 to 40% of anime fans are women? Did you know it's that big of a number? It's not like 4, believe it or not. A lot of people are like, there are only 4 girls who watch anime. This is wrong.
But just look at our podcast. All women. Would have thought that's more than 4. Yeah. I just found a poll. Would you watch a feminist anime? And believe it or not, most of the votes are no.
What's the percentage? Do you know?
36% voted yes, and 63% voted no.
What is a feminist anime anyway?
Probably like Steven Universe or something.
That takes into account all the criticisms leveled against anime by the more PC folks. Oh man, I hate when people throw around PC, like PC culture. Of course, someone whose name is Edgy God Mamster says, hell the fuck no, censorship needs to die in the biggest fire possible. Alright, we get it. You watch hentai and you like the rape trope. We got it.
My favorite one was I'd rather Sudoku myself.
Sudoku myself.
Would you rather play Sudoku or watch a feminist anime? Leave your answers in the comments.
Also, rest in peace to the creator of Sudoku. He just died like a couple of days ago.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
You gave us a great gift. Anyways, I would like to point 2 of the thing that Nikki read. They go complain about violence against women being used as a joke, and then violence is always used on men by female characters everywhere, but they don't complain about it. Hey, guess what? In the Horimiya review, we complained about it.
We did complain about it.
All the time.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, they're talking about violence on men by women that are like, it is humorous. It's like a humor, like playful hitting type thing, right? Which I get is like, okay, there is violence on men in that context, but like, I don't think they realize that the violence on women that is being brought up is like pretty, like, it's like almost like torture that's unnecessary. 2 female characters and they don't really get beat up, or like, and it's almost erotic the way that they're beat up.
Yeah, it's like torture porn, basically.
Yeah, and it's gross. Like, things like, you know, how their clothes get torn, when they're like getting in a fight or something, like, and they're torn on like all the erotic places, and like I think one anime that's kind of notorious for that is like Fairy Tail. Where a lot of their, like, I think I saw a TikTok where a guy was like ranking different animes, like popular shonen animes, and how that they portrayed women. And you know, a lot of the characters in Fairy Tail, some of the female characters are pretty strong. Like, they're like, some of them are pretty strong, but they like have that mangaka or like the animators have this tendency to also like show them get beat up really bad, and like some of the most like unnecessary, like almost erotic type of like torture way. And I did watch Fairy Tail, so I do understand what they're talking about. Like, it's kind of almost uncomfortable to watch.
It's Sword Art Online was also.
Oh yeah, that's
did
also
that.
one. Yeah.
I always look away when they're like groping the female leads like boobs. That's so uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
And there are people who would say, "Oh, they do that to show just how evil the villain is."
No,
is
but
it
even
really
the males,
necessary though?
No, but even the male lead does that too. Like, to go to Soul Eater and Fire Force. That mangaka really enjoys their fan service, but there's like one character in Fire Force where like she has some like a suggestive curse or something where whatever she does, people end up like groping her clothes fall off, and she ends up like touching people. Like, people end up touching her in a very gross, suggestive way. So they're like too much. I mean, I don't want a little bit of fan service, but too much is just gotta stop.
Right. And I know people are gonna say, "Oh, you can't take it. You're so PC." I don't think it's because of a different perspective, right? Because we're women and we may have even lived circumstances close to that, being groped or touched when we didn't want to be, being put in like very uncomfortable situations, and then you see them playing that for gags on TV, and that's just extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It really is.
I remember watching scenes like that and feeling extremely uncomfortable too. Like being uncomfortable that they would I wouldn't feel comfortable when like during fight scenes among men because it never really felt like that torturous or abusive, I guess, or like almost violating. But yeah, there's a lot of like those fight scenes with women that most definitely felt like it didn't need to be portrayed that way. It was pretty unnecessary and made it like it just like sexualized torture. It's like, torture porn.
People are into whatever they're into, but I think it's valid. It's valid for me to say I don't like that. Like,
yeah.
If you like that, sure, fine, whatever. But I'm allowed to say I don't like it, and I don't have to get hate on for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of people, that's like the criticism. Being able to take criticism. Being like, oh, I really love this show, but I understand that there are some scenes that are too much, that are really uncomfortable for people to watch, and I am fine with people not liking that.
Like Fujoshis, right? They ship random, like, not random, but male characters in like a shonen or whatever. But because like females are like not as developed as like the two main male characters, people are more likely to ship those two together because it seems like they have more chemistry compared to like the straight pairing.
It that kind of reminds me of in Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun, the one scene when they're playing the visual novel, and the two guys playing fall for like the male
God,
side
yeah.
character.
Oh my god, I remember that.
That's a classic scene.
We need a second season of Gekkan Shoujo. It was so popular. Where is our second season?
Where's our second season of literally every shoujo?
It wasn't even a shoujo. It was actually a shonen. Orasama Teacher was a shoujo. Gekkan Shoujo was a shonen.
Other shonen I think do it. It's been a while since I've watched it, but Steins Gate was good. It was really good. And it had as far as I can recall, it didn't have any sexualizing of the female character.
I haven't seen it, so I can't give you any commentary.
Haven't seen it?
No.
I would highly.
Oh wow, it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Steins Gate.
Yeah, it's in top 5 on Mal. I've been meaning to rewatch it, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Speaking of Mal's top 10, so in order of top anime right now, it's Gintama, the final movie. That has a 9.17. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, that has a 9.16. Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, that has a 9.1. Steins Gate also has a 9.1. And then Fruits Basket. Let me look through what the Fruits Basket reviews are. Oh, I haven't rated it yet. I'm gonna rate it 10.
I rated it 10.
It's not a 10 in my opinion, but I need to rate it a 10 just to give a middle finger to the incels of Full Metal Alchemist.
And like, I also rated a Full Metal Alchemist a 10. I think it's great, but I think a lot of people would agree that the brigading and the tearing it down just because it's quote unquote a trash shoujo moe show, it's just stupid. You shouldn't rate something if you've never seen it. Okay, I posted a graphic that was like anti-trope recommendations for romance, and it got a lot more attention than I was expecting on r/manga. I'm kind of nervous. I was really nervous about posting it there because people aren't always super kind to shoujo on r/manga. But most of the people were really nice about it, and they were like, ooh, a bunch of recommendations. Let me just add this to my to-read list. But there were some people at the very bottom who were like, let's see, only one of these isn't for a female demographic. What are the good shonen recs? I'm here to tell you boys that you're allowed to read shoujo, and you're allowed to like it too. Hot take, I know. Right, guys can read shoujo too. You might. There's this one meme that I love. I don't know who made it, but why don't you go sit down and read some shoujo and develop some feelings, something like that. There are things other than action, and I think it would really help people if you read series that were more emotional rather than action packed. Just give it a chance. Just give shoujo a dang chance. Please.
Just like, don't be afraid of your feelings.
True.
Watch Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket. Oh, Fruits Basket. Oh, like, not gonna lie. Like, I don't like to have feelings sometimes, you know. But Fruits Basket. Oof. A little.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in that.
Yeah, if you want drama, Fruits Basket. But it's also got a lot of comedy and yeah, it's a slice of life. Lighthearted into extreme drama, and at the last episode I was crying a lot.
Oh my god, I was crying too. I teared up. But I just think I teared up because it just hits so deep sometimes. Like, it's just, wow.
Yeah. I watched that last episode and I was like,
K-pop boyfriend.
maybe I can find love too.
Right? That's what I was thinking.
Did you end up throwing it away
oh
or
my god,
no?
this just melted my stone cold
Yeah,
heart.
like, I didn't want kids, but see that last episode?
Wait, so did you move all the way from your old apartment
Dang.
to your current one?
I was living up my whole life, and I was like, damn, I should go settle down and make a family.
It's time to put him in the closet for good.
Yeah. No, he's right next to me.
He's here listening.
Yeah, it's really funny because I had him laying in my car with his face like in the front seat, like laying flat, so his legs were like in the back seat and his face was in the front seat, and I had to go like drop off these books to this girl that I was like giving away these like gIrL books to, and she came to get the books and she went on my passenger side where his head is. And so I had to like give it to her out the window, and she stuck her head a little bit to get the books, and she saw his face, just like she was like staring up at her from that window, and she's just like, "Oh, nice cutout," and I'm like, "Thanks,
Thanks, I made it.
yeah, he's still here."
I'm looking at the Fruits Basket reviews, like looking at the lower ranked ones, and somebody ranked it low because they didn't think it was gonna get dark. They ranked it a 4. They're like, I didn't expect it to get this dark, so I didn't like it.
Some of those My Anime List reviews are so dumb. Like, they're such a shitty review. Yeah, especially for the ones that are like, there are some really polarizing animes, obviously, or like any animes that don't have like a very necessarily happy ending. People will rank it low just because it doesn't have a happy ending.
Honestly, it's kind of like if
And it's
when
like,
I rank
well,
things, I don't rank them like how they're objectively good. I rank them how happy they made me. And usually, like,
yeah, I do the same
like
thing.
whenever there's like a dummy sad ending, I always rank it like low on my list.
well, if it's sad for no reason, then I get it. But like, if it's still a good resolution, like, I wouldn't take off points for it being a sad ending.
Now, I did see a Twitter. This is going a little bit off topic, but I did see a Twitter thread where someone asked, "What's an anime that you regret watching?"
Pupa.
Yeah, I saw it because of your tweet. And a lot of people said Devilman Crybaby, and I was like, really? I thought that was great.
Oh, I liked it a lot. I did not
Same.
regret watching that one. It's one of
And
my
I think some
favorites,
people have
actually.
like different. I think of a regret as like, this was a waste of time, and I should have spent my time watching something else. But I think other people like thought of it as like it was too sad for me or something.
I loved the ending of Devilman Crybaby.
Yeah,
I
That
haven't
was so
seen it.
good.
That was great.
I heard it was sad, so I didn't want to watch it.
It's don't watch it with your parents around.
Yeah.
It's
Is there like smut in it?
if you want to talk about torture porn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of sex.
It's
oh no.
Non-consensual. Consensual.
I thought this was an
lots-
action show.
Of both types.
it is. I think Devilman Crybaby might be a good example of like it's an even spread of torture porn, so it's not just like just women. It's everyone.
Wait, does the main character get assaulted?
Yeah, it is.
Oh no.
Everyone gets assaulted.
Um,
But it's like, they did have a couple of scenes that made me very uncomfortable because it did show, like, women in not so great situations. But I think that was the general
I mean,
theme
it
of
is
it.
devils taking over the world, so.
Yeah, it is the general theme of it.
I
But
wonder
yeah,
if
it
like
did
for
make
these
me
like
feel pretty uncomfortable.
serious topics like these, like the people who animate them and draw every panel out, like did they ever like get counseling for it? Because like that's like just drawing it out and looking at like it panel by panel and watching the entire thing, that has to do something to you.
Might become
Yeah,
desensitized at
I
some point.
I mean, part of it is also just like, oh, it's not real, and then it's a little more. I feel like when you are actually the one drawing it, it feels less real too, because you're the one making it up. So I feel like it's probably isn't that bad, but I feel there's probably resources available. Hopefully,
I don't
there are
know.
resources available.
They're already being underpaid,
Hopefully.
so I
Yeah, okay,
doubt
maybe
it.
not. But hopefully.
Yeah. Animation is like
Okay, yeah,
in
maybe
Japan
not.
is a super stressful, underpaid, and like not
Yeah,
healthy field.
never mind. After I said that, I thought about it. I was like, wait.
And also, just like mental health discussions in Japan is just not good.
I think they have like the highest suicide rate too, right?
Mhm.
Or did Korea take over them? Since remember those two are at the top highest suicide rates. Japan like kind of romanticizes suicide too, right? I always feel like they kind of do. They have like that entire forest where you can do it.
I don't know if romanticize is the right word. I hope they don't, because it's not something that should be at all, ever.
Oh, Japan's not
But I don't
in
think...
the top 10 anymore. Congratulations to them.
Let's get back to our girls ruining anime.
The answer is no. Girls are not ruining anime.
Yes, definitively.
There's a lot of gatekeeping that happens too. Like,
true.
Like, men being like, oh, what are your top 5 animes? And then you're like, mention them, and then like, those don't count.
Or like, oh yeah, name this specific villain from this specific arc. If you were a true fan, you would know this answer.
Yeah, for some reason, there's a lot of guys who think girls watch anime for male attention. Like, oh, you're only watching anime so that, like, guys will think you're cool, or like, like pick me girls almost, like, oh, I'm not like other girls because I watch anime, or like stuff like that. And then like guys tend to take that idea and roll with it, and it's like girls only watch anime to get male attention. They only say that they watch anime. They don't really know anything about it.
I think a lot of incels are very close-minded and really don't understand that women are people. Like, truly have their own interests. They do not specifically live for men. Yeah, like, I exist for things outside of the male gaze.
I think also, like, there are some men that think, like, oh, or like just incels in general that are like, I am hated because, or like, I am shunned from society, or I'm an outcast because I like this. Like, it's only because I like this, not because
you have a horrible personality.
Weird. Yeah, I'm weird. I have a horrible personality. Like, treat women horribly, but it's because I like anime, and so they can't see like people who like the same thing that they think that they have like blamed for, being an outcast for. They can't stand it when someone also likes that, but they're not an outcast.
I think it's we can see this especially now when anime is becoming more popular. I think it's because like with things online, you don't see the weird anime people at school. Some kids are more likely to like get into anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's definitely becoming a lot more mainstream.
Which I appreciate. There's more like look at webtoons. Like we're getting licenses as soon as the Korean version comes out. That's so fun. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have a friend who has the webtoon app and who like reads webtoons, and I'm like, no way, no way. No, I can bond without feeling embarrassed.
Right? Like it's so weird. I appreciate this new generation so much. Like this new time period.
So hopefully we will do away with all the gatekeeping. I think people are definitely getting better about it. It's that in all these conversations with like, are women are ruining anime, feminists are ruining anime, yada yada. This is like a minority, a vocal minority, right? Most people, like 99% of people, will be like, "Oh, you like anime? Cool, me too." And that's end of conversation, or like talk about anime. No, not going into, well, really? It's a small minority, but they're so loud and almost dangerous because they all group together, all these like-minded loud people, and they start targeting women who dare criticize their hentai.
Because literally everybody thinks that like anime people, like before like it became mainstream, people thought of anime as like anime people are like pervs pretty much because of like how outspoken these people are. What do you call hentai watchers?
Hentais? Because hentai isn't that just a word for like pervert?
I think they call themselves like cultured.
That's very true, they do. Some guy at the
guess.
university, his license plate, like he got it to say hentai. It was like H3 NTA1.
Wow. I wonder what reasoning he gave.
I don't think you have to give one, right?
You do. I tried to get a license plate, and you have to give a reason, or like what you had to give a meaning to it. Like, what does it mean?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a California thing. I feel like in Florida you could just buy it and it would be fine.
Oh, I don't know. Because then if you get it, if you wanted to get it through the DMV, they ask you, what's the meaning of your license plate? And then they'll reject it if it's like something like profanity or sexual or whatever. Inappropriate. Makes sense though.
You have to pay per year. That's a subscription. For a personalized plate.
It is per year. It's like $50 for the first year and $40 every year after that.
I think that varies by state, because I know Virginia has one of the cheapest vanity plate prices.
Oh, wow.
It says it's $10 a year plus the vehicle registration and special plate fees.
For California.
In Virginia.
California, it's like $50 for the first year and $40 every year after that. Anything else about girls ruining anime?
I think we should end with, if you're a boy who thinks that girls are ruining anime, I think we should end with some good suggestions. Maybe not even shoujo, just like, what are some good anime that we like, that we think represent women well? Or maybe not even, just like some decent anime to watch that aren't hentai. Maybe some with feelings. I'm thinking Violet Evergarden.
I have not watched that one.
God, it's so good. But you will need tissues. You will cry for like 6 episodes in a row.
I liked it, but I didn't love it. I don't know why. I just couldn't get into it that much, but I did complete it. But the animation was gorgeous, like as expected of Kyoto animation. Absolute like animation best. That was not a coherent sentence. You should have asked us before, Bees, so I would have been prepared.
Sorry.
Maybe if shoujo-wise, Akatsuki no Yona is very fantastic.
Of course. We have an episode later.
We talk about
Yeah.
Yona. We talk about Yona all the time. I think it does do well. I mean, it is a reverse harem, but she is a pretty strong female character. I think it could appeal to a lot of variety of audiences though, because it is a epic type.
And there is
adventure.
action.
There is action. It's an adventure type, epic/adventure type shoujo, and I think it's really good.
Yeah, and there's comedy too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the shoujo version of your classic shonen. Does that comparison make sense? I don't want to directly compare it to Naruto, but it's like it's got the same energy, maybe.
I haven't seen Naruto. I only watched like 2 episodes of it and I didn't like it. What was the question again? Like, what's our favorite female character or something?
What anime would you recommend to someone who thinks that women are ruining anime?
Can I recommend a manga? Okay, I'll be recommending, what's the English title? Sorry. The Japanese title is Kusuria no Hitorikoto. There you have your strong female character. She's funny. You have your male wife, male lead. I really enjoy that one.
I read it to a certain point and then I dropped it, and I can't tell you why. But I did see it at the bookstore one time. So it
is really slow, as in like the romance and other stuff. But each chapter you get more and more closer to knowing like more details about the male lead and more details like about the female lead's not past life, but like her how she was raised and stuff, like what happened to her parents. You should pick it up again, bees. It just got to the point where I think it got to a pretty good arc at the moment. If you decide to pick it up,
I'll need to figure out where I left it off. But I'll look into that soon.
Better. Holds knife. You sung with a knife.
Violence. Do you have a suggestion, Nikki?
I mean, I said Yona, but...
Oh, you did.
But I don't know, Yona's kind of a cop-out.
But I think it's valid for a lot of people who write off shoujo as... Like, people who write off all shoujo, seriously give it a try.
Oh, for webtoons, I think Your Throne, fantastic. Your Throne, or I Want to Be You, even just for a day or something, is like another title of it. It's super good. It's one of those isekai. Well, it's not really isekai, but it's
historical romance fantasy.
Kind of medieval. Yeah, it's not that romance though. It's like not that strong in romance. But I mentioned it before. The female leads. There's 2 female leads, and it's like it's really great because they kind of depict 2 sides where they're both very strong female leads, right? One of them is kind of strong in the very traditional sense where she's smart, wise, powerful, good at everything. The other one, she's a little more... She isn't necessarily like that, but she still is a very, very strong... She is still a very, very strong character in her own right. And it's one of the... I think Your Throne is probably one of my favorites that I'm currently reading. Highly recommend that one. And it's like, I think it would most definitely appeal to a lot of different audiences too. There's a lot of sexual tension, but not a lot of romance going on.
The only thing I'd be worried about is a lot of people, the reason they write off shoujo is part of the reason is because of the art style.
Really?
And I think yeah, a lot of people they don't like how big the eyes are. They don't like... So I saw someone call shoujo paneling pretentious, which I don't know about that one, fam, but okay.
I don't think it's that weird, but sure, whatever.
Wotakoi was
I
really
think some
popular,
people, if you've never...
So maybe something like with guys as well. So maybe something like similar to that.
Oh, Gaku and Alice is also a good one.
Gaku and Alice. You know, like it had an English license, and then it got cancelled.
Yeah, the English versions are very, very expensive, the English mangas. It used to be in my school library.
Oh wow, you should have stolen it. So tell us in the comments, do you think women ruined anime? Were you happy before women existed? Were you the Adam before your Eve?
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to us. This one was kind of sporadic, but like, I don't know, felt like it was important to talk about. I sure found it interesting.
I did too.
It's just men. It's just always... I complain about men in almost every episode.
Sorry
But-
to all our male viewers. We appreciate you guys
Yeah.
for sticking around this long.
Hey.
You know, some hater would watch and be like, she hates men. She says she hates men, therefore she hates me, therefore I'm being attacked personally by this. That's not the case.
Yeah, we actually do have a lot of male viewers because of Ozla, though. Or listeners because of Ozla.
Hello,
We
Ozzo's
appreciate you.
fans, cosplay
If you,
influencer.
if you came from Ozla's cosplaying accounts, we appreciate you.
A lot.
Yes.
Even though we complain about men a lot.
We're not complaining about you. We're just complaining about the weird fringe incels that ruin everything. I think a lot of people will agree they ruin everything. Anyways, thank you for listening, as we have come to the conclusion that, yes, indeed, actually, women do ruin anime, and we're going to be leaving the podcast forever. See you never, right?
We'll miss you
Yeah.
guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
This is the last episode.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Aza here. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Into the Shoujo-Verse. Check out our social media. We're on Twitter at the Shoujo-Verse, YouTube and Instagram at Shoujo-Verse, and TikTok at Into the Shoujo-Verse. Thank you so much.